Welcome to RTF Sports Talk. Your host, as always, Matthew Lyle. Not sponsored by Bud Light, but if we were, I would ask, why all of a sudden are they giving us their ingredients? And why are you waiting until February? If you've seen all the commercials yesterday, Billy, they said starting in February. What are you hiding in January is the question I got to ask. No Mike today.
Hey, you know they did that kicking contest in Chicago for the free beer.
I know. And nobody made it, did they? Didn't everybody look like a fool?
No, everybody missed it.
It was like a 0 for 101. As you can tell, joined by Billy, Grant Hefe, no Mike today. That cracks me up that you said that because I do truly think that is the problem with sports, and I don't mean like the sports themselves. I mean the sports fans. Is everyone's so quick to judge?
Yep.
Because they think they can do that. Because typically everyone's played some sort of sports. I would imagine a large amount of at least males have played sports outside of middle school. So, and typically, unless you're 100% honest with yourself, or you were just really bad, you say there were some choices or there were some things in life that happened that kept you out of bigger and better things.
Yep.
So I think when you're like, oh, if coach would have started me, or oh, if I hadn't have broke my leg, or oh, if I would have had better grades.
It's always the injury. Injury. So everybody got hurt.
Which a little hindsight on me, my poor decision making, and I can sit hindsight, my poor decision making. I went to a school that had about 300 kids, and we played a very easy schedule. If I really wanted to be great and go do something, I should have had an opportunity my senior year to move to a much bigger school. But then,
I did.
So, that was my thing because, you don't go from 300 kid high school to big time college without walking on, without doing a lot of extra work. So I'm not going to put that blame on anybody else, but I think that's why sports fans are so hard on sports stars because, well, I should be doing that. That should be me. You're getting paid an amount that makes me jealous for doing something.
The envy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had this discussion. Me and a buddy was having this discussion because look at other entertainment things in life. Actors. Nobody gets mad at actors for getting paid as much as they do because
they don't.
Because no one ever can relate. Even if you look at music, and I want to be careful how I word this, but what do you think the most scrutinized genre of music is, Billy?
I would probably say hip hop.
Exactly, and that's where I was alluding, and I think it's because
I had to make sure I chose it right because I had to think about all the other genres first before I just go out on the limb.
But think of all the people that do music for fun, for not getting paid, just for in a garage, as you said, with their friends. Hip hop is obviously number one because all you need is some beats, and if you got a good rhyme scheme, there you go. If you start going down, country music, you got to have a little bit of a better vocal voice. Rock and roll, you got to have an entire band.
Yep.
So if you look at the music we scrutinize, it typically comes from music that is, I don't want to say it's easy to do because it's not.
People don't think that much work is required.
Yeah. So when people think, oh, and I'm not putting any kind of race to this. Any culture could do this, whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic. You can easily say, oh, I could go into my garage and put out a better album than insert rapper here.
Yep. There's plenty of them that I say the same thing right now.
Exactly. So then you start listening to that harshly. When you listen to rock and roll, even if you don't like rock and roll, you're like, man, how's he playing that guitar? That sounds difficult.
How's he playing them strings like that? Yep.
Yeah, how's he doing that? That sounds pretty difficult. You can sit here and make fun of country music all day long, and he's talking about his dog and his car and his girlfriend. But man, he hit a pretty good note there. I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
but
country singers, they normally have to have good voices. They have to have a distinct voice. It's tough to be able to sing. That ain't easy.
So you look at some things that and I want to preface it by saying that it is not easy to do. Anything that we've discussed to be successful at takes a large amount of work. Think of the worst rapper out there that you like. I guarantee you he works harder than probably most of us. and in comparative speaking, I mean, I'm sure he puts in his own work, but yet we think as people we could just sit back and
he's just going in the studio and just
yeah, and then he goes back and sleeps and plays video games all day. No, they're putting in work. Same thing goes with your sports stars. Even the kicker who missed these kicks, they aren't just chilling in their cribs, driving in their nice cars, and then coming out and kicking 60-yard field goals. No, they work.
I think it's just more. I think for kickers, though, I think why people get so upset with kickers, and myself included. I mean, I've been on the losing end of a few wide rights and wide left as a Florida State fan. But I think it's just more of you only get to do this 4 or 5 times, and then you hear stories about kickers. They're not really practicing. They're over there on the other field just, playing around while guys are actually getting hit at practice, while guys are actually doing the physical work. And then you see them get in the game and you see one miss, and it's like, see, right there. That's because you don't practice. That's because you're not doing anything. And I think that's why people get mad at field goal kickers, because you do it once, a few times a game outside of extra points. And it's like when we call on you to make a kick, just make the kick. I think that's where we as fans get all up in arms. But to kick a football is not easy. It's not easy.
No, absolutely. And I think if you see any of them clips, they're out there. They're all over the internet of these fans attempting these 40-yard field goals. Yes, there's no practice. Yes, that's not their job. But also, it's in a room by themselves, and there's no rush. There's no pressure other than just trying to kick
free beer for a year. Free beer for a year, man. That's a lot of pressure.
Maybe it is. So we're going to get started. We're going to get back to this topic. I do want to shelf. That's going to be because it's a part of football. It's been a part of football for years, and it's played a big role in this season. And we're going to touch on that some more. But let's start with the playoffs. We're going to start in the order that we picked them, in the order that they was played. Colts went out and really laid a dud versus the Chiefs. Chiefs win, they're hosting their first ever AFC Championship game. Give me your takeaway.
That's hard to believe too, man.
It is. I mean, considering they've been, I guess here recently they've been kind of a dud. But, yeah, they've had some good squads. They had those Priest home teams, those Larry Johnson teams, the team last year, the team this year, finally getting it done.
Even the teams before that for the older Chiefs fans, I hear a lot of those guys talk too in these sports groups. And even for those teams, and they still haven't ever hosted an AFC Championship game, that's crazy. That's amazing.
And I was talking to Mike on I believe Big Blue Breakdown. This is actually this Patrick Mahomes is the first Big 12 quarterback to win a playoff game.
Yes, I seen that stat as well.
So I put an asterisk there because depending on how you want to play with that wordage, they used to be the Big 8.
Because they did say technically, because they did say technically.
The Big 8 had
Big 12, yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those ones where maybe it was a bigger deal in the 90s, but that would be like separating the Pac-12 from the Pac-10. Because to me,
but you would think though, Big 12 quarterbacks, these guys that are known that in college everybody loves them. They can just sling it all over the field. They doing it all, and then most of the time they come to the NFL and it'd be a dud. I don't really understand it.
Yeah, and that's something like especially since it's just kind of me and you rolling more of a chill show today. There's some obscure stats that I found myself scratching my head and laughing at that I want to shelf for the back end. But let's just take this game: Colts, Chiefs. What was your takeaways? You were the only. No, you might pick them too, but you picked the Chiefs. Did it go like you want? Give me your takeaway. Give me your recap. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, Mike picked the Chiefs, but I think he was almost forced to pick him just because he's a fan. Because everything he laid out was basically for the Colts. I think this game went about it as how I expected. This is about an Andrew Luck playoff performance as you can get. He's been pretty mediocre in the playoffs considering what he does in the regular season. I know we used to always talk about Peyton Manning, about how, he's one of the greatest regular season quarterbacks. We used to do it with LeBron James. He's the greatest regular season player. And I think Andrew Luck is starting to become in that territory. Now, although he's won a few more games than most people would like when they're calling him a bust as far as playoff goes. But just his play on the field, to me, I think that's what I expect out of Andrew Luck. He threw his first touchdown late in that game after it was really already over with. And the most amazing stat, and I said this after the game, I called my friend and I was like, man, do you realize that the Chiefs just put up 31 points and Patrick Mahomes did not throw one passing touchdown that whole entire game? And he was like, yeah, he did. I was like, no, go check the stats. Not one passing touchdown from him or Jared Goff.
Yeah.
And they still win the game. And they put up 31 points against that Colts defense that I think really got exposed, that was kind of overrated all year long. They had a few good players on there, but I think when Andrew Luck is not able to give you 6-7 minute drives to help you out on defense to be refreshed and energized, because being refreshed and energized really only helps the defense. That doesn't help a high-powered offense. You know, those guys want to get out there and go play while they're being slowed down. And I think Andrew Luck, inability to get anything going. Now, credit to the Chiefs defense. They was getting after Andrew Luck. He was under constant pressure all day. But when he doesn't give you those long drives, you see that defense struggle, and they struggle.
Yeah, it's funny because now granted, we don't know how things would have panned out if the Colts offense would have showed up. But you asked when we did the predictions, you was like, I don't see how the Chiefs are only going to score 24 or 21 points. And I think that was the game that happened is what it would have taken, but it would have needed to see a little bit more execution from the Colts.
Yeah.
Examples, certain things that hurt them. Like, I was not surprised at all by the Chiefs coming out as hot and as fast as they did. And ironically, one of the biggest things that hurt them was that punt block. Yes, it got you 7 points, but it pretty much was nullified because your defense literally came right back on the field. So, you know, and then if you notice, the Chiefs just marched right down and scored. No problem.
Yep.
What would have been a little better?
17-point game again.
Right. What would have been a little better is a decent punt return, get the ball on the 40, punch it in, you know, do whatever you want, punch it in, score 7, hold them to 3, then get 3 going into halftime. Man, Adam Vinatieri missing an extra point and a field goal. Look, the score is going to tell you that 4 points doesn't make a difference. But if you compound his 4 points mixed with Andrew Luck,
how the team may respond after that.
Exactly. Or how the team did play in general. It was just a whole bunch of mistakes. So if you get that, you know, it's essentially a 10-point turnaround because you get the 3 points. If you can somehow hold them to just 3 points on the final drive that they scored, you're going in 20-10.
And he had never missed in the snow, correct? In the postseason.
Right. And I think it was Charles Woodson who tweeted, "Now you miss in the snow."
Yep.
But then, you know, they get Darius Leonard was kind of pretty much invisible, except for he made one really great play where Sammy Watkins took a little screen and Darius Leonard forced him to fumble, and then they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything with it. That could have been another 7. Then we're talking a whole different game. But they never did. And this isn't about the Colts. If I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm very inspired. To your point, not only did Patrick Mahomes not put up a touchdown, the defense played really solid, which this is the conference championship. This is a Super Bowl team, whatever.
And I brung that up that the defensive coordinator was probably out the door.
There he is. And I mean, if he's going to get an opportunity, because if they win the Super Bowl, he's either beating Tom Brady. Well, he's got to beat Tom Brady. And he's either going to beat Drew Brees or Jared Goff and Sean McVay, which could be the next Belichick Brady, where you can't mention one without the other. But, and shoot, for that matter, you just put Sean Payton in there too because he's a great offensive mind. So the defense is going to have to show up. The fact that they also was able to run the ball. And some of those throws that Patrick Mahomes made, sidearmed between, it looked like he could have bounced past it in between somebody's legs if they would have let him. It was just absurd plays that got the job done. I was completely wrong about the Chiefs. I thought their defense would lay flat. I thought Patrick Mahomes would give you a mistake. And that's one thing, even when Patrick Mahomes throws an interception, he doesn't give you stupid plays that turn into pick sixes. You're not typically going to score quick against that defense or against that offense. You know what I'm saying? Like what I say, you know,
because he's throwing it deep. Everything is 15, 20 yards down the field. It's basically like a punt return.
Yeah, exactly. And he's not really going to give you a bad throw to the flats or a bad throw on a curl that's going to instantly turn into pick six. And now I will say, if I had to nitpick on the Chiefs, and maybe because it was just such a problem at the beginning, it really didn't rear its ugly head in the end. He took some hard hits in the first quarter. Now, he was able to get up, shake it off, and I think on both times he led him to a score. But there was one play where he got up limping. And then there was a couple other plays.
And that's the drive they punted. Because he threw a over the top third down, and they had to punt a field goal, whichever one it was.
Right, you're right there. And then the team's got to communicate this. So I see this a lot. And you see this a lot in college, and it's starting to make its way in the NFL. Now, Travis Kelce tried to pick him up, but I think he was so used to running routes and he was thinking route first that he didn't look at everything. They brought a corner blitz or a safety blitz that if Mahomes was any other quarterback might have been stretchered off the field. He just got blindsided. And Kelce, who's a tight end, who's one of the greats, Kelce as a tight end, I'm sure you got a chip. I'm sure you got to get a hand on somebody before getting out to your route. But this offense is so down the field that Kelce was probably thinking route first, and then when he realized the blitz, he was already out of position and couldn't get a hand on it.
I thought it was a tight end screen, and Mahomes just didn't throw it to him. I know that play that you're speaking of. I thought it was a tight end screen, where they act like they're trying to block, and then he just went 3 yards and turned around. I thought it was a screen.
Well, the only reason I hadn't thought of that is because when they showed it, Patrick Mahomes never looks left.
Yeah, and he never looked.
So
he never looked.
Yep. If it was a screen, I would think, obviously he's going to look right to try to set up because a tight end screen takes some misdirection. You're not just going to rely on speed. I get that he was looking right, but he never came back left. And if he would have came back left and then seen it and then got sacked, I'd have been like, oh, yeah. But, he never looked left. And I don't know.
Yeah, he never seen it coming. I
don't know if he was just shutting that side of the field down, if he thought everything was going to drag across to the right, but he never gave that left a look. So, obviously we're nitpicking, but I think you almost have to this late into the season because little things like that is what prevents you from holding up the Lombardi Trophy. It's little things. Obviously these aren't things you would nitpick in on the season because you're looking at the big things. Oh, the defense. Oh, is this a problem? But we're getting down here to bad blocking assignments, or if Patrick Mahomes gets shaken up and has to miss a drive, that could be the difference between going home and being Super Bowl champions.
Well, especially when they basically play near perfect, really outside just that block punt, and towards the end of the game, it really wasn't much that the Kansas City Chiefs did bad in this game. Mahomes was still completing everything that he really wanted to complete. To your Darius Leonard point, he's a different guy when he's asked to be in space, and that's what the Kansas City Chiefs offense asks him to do, play in space. He's a tackler. He led the league in tackles for a reason because he can come downhill, stop the run, get around the line of scrimmage. But when the Chiefs are asking you to guard Kelce, and when they putting other guys in the slot, and now you're forced to be in the element that you're not used to playing in, that's where we get out of Darius Leonard. But, yeah, I think at this time of the year, that's the only thing that you can do is nitpick because normally the teams that are still here are some of the best teams in the league. And you seen the stat yesterday. We have the top 4 offenses in the NFL in the NFC and AFC championship game. So this is truly the best of the best.
Well, and exactly. And that's why I think you have to nitpick. And that's why I think you're going to see a trend when we talk these 4 games, and then when you see the rest of the games unfold throughout the season, the NFL's hard work, and I use that lovingly in air quotes, has paid off. The NFL's nitpicking on rules and roughing the passers and hand checking and holding and hands to the face has paid off because, to your point, we have the top offenses in the league. I guess Pittsburgh's probably in there somewhere, but they didn't make the playoffs, so throw them out. We have the top.
Well, these are just the top 4 out of anybody. Period. These are the top 4 offenses in the NFL this year.
Well, so I guess it depends on what metric you're looking at. Because the reason I brought that up is because when I looked at it last, at the end of the regular season, the top 4 offenses where the Chiefs, Saints, Rams, Steelers, Patriots. So the one I looked had the Steelers at number 4. But anyway, I'm just bringing that if there's any Steelers fan listening. We're not forgetting about you. You just didn't make the playoffs. You just didn't come to the big boy table. Go sit down. But none of these games, even the one we're going to talk about next with the Patriots, none of these games felt 100% out of reach. I mean, at any time, I felt like the Colts could have came back, but they never did. I really thought that if the Chargers would have started to drive earlier, that would have been a scarier game. The Cowboys looked completely outplayed. They still stood a chance. And then the best game of the weekend was obviously a 6-point game with the Saints. But the NFL's wanting you to never turn that TV off. And when it's 42-0 at halftime, they still want you watching. And I hate to say it, I don't know if anyone's ever going to come back from 42-0. But 42-0 at halftime still means we're going to see a pretty darn good game. And the rules are set up for such. So the only one that kind of eliminates that is the onside kick, and we can get to that later. So we're going to move on to the next one. The Cowboys-Rams game. Probably one of the more passionate ones I watched because it was close and it involved the team that I absolutely hate. Rams got it done. Completely obliterated the Cowboys on the ground. I think they outrushed them 275-50. So much for Zeke being the best back in the league, huh? Yeah. But What was your takeaway? What was your thoughts? I know you're happy. Just give me your rundown.
Yeah, you know I was happy, and I was watching the game with Cowboy fans to even make it even better. But what I seen was, Mike came on here and said on Friday that the Cowboys can just play a 5-man box, and we're going to leave Gurley, one-on-one with Van Der Esch. And I'm just saying that didn't work. On Todd Gurley, on both his big runs, he was one-on-one with somebody, one-on-one with the safety for the 35-yard touchdown. Came back on a few drives later. He was one-on-one with Byron Jones, supposedly their best athlete. Made him touch the ground. So I'm just saying, one-on-one against Todd Gurley, that's never going to work. C.J. Anderson had us going. They said he's averaged about 140 yards in these 3 games that he's been with the Rams, which was his first 3 weeks on the team. So this is going to be a scary team going forward when you can have a 1-2 punch out of Todd Gurley, and then you can have Jared Goff play action on top of that. It seemed like every time he went to the play action on Saturday, somebody was open. He was hitting Reynolds. He was hitting Cook. He was hitting Woods. Everybody was open. And the Cowboys didn't get any explosive plays out of the run game. Zeke Elliott, 20 carries for 47 yards. They had 50 yards as a team. So that front 4, that front 7, we have been saying before the game that was the week they couldn't stop the run. Credit to Sue, credit to Donald and Littleton and Barron. These guys came up, stopped the run, and really that one touchdown Zeke had came off of Talib pass interference in the end zone. He just punched it in from 1 yard. So outside of that, Zeke did nothing in the game. And that played pretty good. He didn't play bad, but when you don't get those explosive plays from Zeke, now the deep passing game is not there. So I think the Rams handled business, and I think they did what they had to do. I'm glad the Cowboys out, and I don't have to hear that anymore.
Exactly. I'm going to bring up the same point that I brought up with the Chiefs. If I'm a Rams fan, I'm ecstatic. I mean, obviously, I think you had a little bit more faith in your run game than the Chiefs had in theirs. But the fact that you were able to switch up styles, that you were able to go to a ground and pound, 250 yards versus one of the top 10 rushing defenses in the league, that you're not having to rely on Jared Goff and 50-yard bombs. I think you have to be very excited about that. Your defense did actually show up, comparatively speaking. I think one of the touchdowns came off of I'm not going to call it a bad call. I think it was a bonehead decision by Talib to get a little too aggressive with Cooper in the end zone that would have been, I don't know, maybe Dak could have made that throw, maybe not. But anyway, they were able to score off that because they got the ball at the 1. I'm going to tear through some excuses that you heard and that I've heard, because when you're dealing with, quote-unquote, America's team, you're going to hear these things. Let's start with what Mike said. And I wish he was here to defend himself. You know, he wanted to say that if you took away the two Gurley runs, and Mike's not the only one that said it. I heard a bunch of other people say it. If you take away Gurley's two big runs, he had an average night. He was still averaging 5 yards a carry. You know, you take away the 30-yard touchdown and the 18-yard run, he was still averaging 5 yards a carry. Let me tell you what, laws of average, you can live with that. 5 yards. Yeah, 5
yards a carry. Yeah,
and then if you're going to do that same logic, Zeke had a 15-yard run. You scrap that, he now has 19. He now has
take away his touchdown that was gifted to him. Now where we at? We can all play this.
Yeah,
game.
Exactly. So now you're at what 20-something yards on 18 carries. Not going to get it done. I had some people because anything I say on the show, I say it in real life. That's my thoughts. These are my opinions. And I've always said the weakness of Cowboys are Dak. And they said, "Oh, well, look how good Dak played." Well, that's what I'm telling you. When Dak plays good, but no one else does, like if you just say quarterback play, when Dak plays good, you still lose by 8 points. So you're going to need other things around because give Dak the best game he could have played, you're still losing. If Dak would have played horrible, they would have gotten blown out. So that's what I'm saying when I say Dak can't win you the games because, like you said, he had a good game. He made some decent passes. Now, if you could throw the run game and the defensive performance you had against the Seahawks with the way Dak played against the Rams, now I will entertain your ideas that these are legit contenders. But you can't get you just showed me you can't get both.
Because he didn't even turn the football over.
Right. You can't show I've yet to see big time game. Now granted the sample size is small, I will still allow that. But I have yet to see all three on the same page. A big game plus strong run game plus impressive Dak. You show me you can do that consistently, I'll start buying into these we them boys, we contenders conversation. Until then, I still think I think with two of those three, you can get yourself into the playoffs, but it's going to end like this every rip. You're going to be a third or fourth seed. You're going to have to play in the wild card. You might lose it. You might win it. And then you're going to face a much better team on the road divisional round. And it's going to, you know what I'm saying? Like
Zeke is just going to have to be Zeke. You can't have a 2.3 yard per carry average when you're Zeke Elliott. I just don't. That's not a recipe for success at all. And to your point, that just having Dak be Dak, that's not enough. He was 20 of 33, very efficient, 260-something yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, no fumble. And he scored 2 touchdowns, 1 on the ground. And it just still wasn't enough. No. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just agreeing. I mean,
and then to your defense point earlier, to how good Dallas' run defense has been, all season they had only allowed 3 100-yard rushers. We're talking about in 18 weeks, they hadn't allowed but 3 100-yard rushers, and then they allowed 2 in the same game with Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson. I'm telling you, if the Rams can keep this up, I know New Orleans is undefeated in New Orleans. That's going to be a tough team to stop if they get 100-yard games out of both backs.
So, Billy, I'm working on my being a part of all this with you and Mike. I'm working on my selfless plugs. And you talked about Dallas and their inability to, Dak didn't play great. Zeke played horrible. The defense couldn't stop a run game at all. The special teams didn't really do everything they needed to. If Dallas needs to win, Dallas needs to be like our want-to-be sponsor, Bud Light. If you look at those new ingredient lists, if you look at the new ingredient list that's coming in February to our Wish We Were a Sponsor of Bud Light, you have water, barley, rice, and hops. You take any one of those things, that's disgusting. But you mix them all together, you get a smooth taste of Bud Light. If Dallas could have mixed all 4 of those things together, they would have a smooth taste of a Lombardi trophy. But they can't, so now they're going home.
Exactly.
I'm working on my plugs. All right.
Hey, you shooting them in today.
I know.
Somebody's going to listen. Somebody's going to hear it.
Exactly. I had to lead y'all to that water. I hope y'all drink. All right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it happened now or later down the road. Somebody's going to hear it.
Record that clip. Please do.
Yes.
moving on to our Sunday games. This is what I alluded to, and maybe it's because it's a Patriot fan in me that I never got comfortable. That when you're up 35-7 at halftime, you never want to be the team that chokes that away. Patriots end up winning. I think the final score was 41-28. Didn't really feel close, but as a fan, it never really felt like I wasn't ready to turn off TV. Give me your takeaways. What was your thoughts? Patriots, Chargers, go.
The Patriots surprised me, honestly. I thought I wasn't coming into that game expecting to see a bad Patriots offense. I just came into that game expecting to see a mediocre Patriots offense where Brady is being heroic and, he's having to pick everybody up by his amazing play and they just fall short. But what I saw was classic Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, playoff football. And I've said it many times on this show. I hate Tom Brady. But there's one thing that I admire about Tom Brady, and that is he just likes to win. I don't care about getting the credit. I don't care if I throw 5 touchdowns. I just want to win. And he said that after the game. I just like winning. And that's what I like about Tom Brady. Yesterday, it was classic Patriot football. We're gonna pound the run game, and Sony Michel right out the gate, 7-8 yards, pushing the pile, and they gave it to him again. Just keep doing that, and then when you got the run game going like that, when Sony Michel run the ball at an insane clip like that, guess what you can get now? Now you got Tom Brady and Julian Edelman, and he caught everything yesterday. And the recipe for success in that game was in the first half. 5 red zone trips, 5 touchdowns. When you're scoring in the red zone, when you're scoring points in the red zone, and not just scoring points, when you're scoring touchdowns, every time you get in the red zone is usually going to be a bad day. The Chargers offense seemed like in that first quarter or so that they would just want to just throw the ball deep. It seemed like that was the game plan. We're just going to throw the ball deep to Mike Williams. And he caught some, he didn't catch some. Keenan Allen only had one target, albeit it was for a touchdown in the first half. He needs to have more. The run game, Melvin Gordon, it seemed like he didn't get anything going. I think he only had 8 carries or something. The Patriots played how the Patriots play in Foxborough in the postseason. That's really what I saw. So Tom Brady said it. I know y'all think we suck, but hey,
I was going to bring that up. You could tell in his voice that's the crazy thing. And I could spend an hour talking about the man, but the fact that I'm sure he can take whatever you said about the regular season, what every hater and doubter and just a realistic person who's not a Patriots fan thought, it's over. They can't do this. Gronk's a shell of himself. Where's those receivers? They lost Josh Gordon. But I think the great ones, and you got to include Bill Belichick, the great ones find ways to, yes, there's 5 rings on my fingers. Yes, I've been to 8 Super Bowls. Yes, I hold almost every record imaginable, but yet find the smallest thing to turn it into the biggest fire. And I have a feeling Brady and Belichick, yes, they may hate each other. They may have all those off-season spats, but they have one common goal. And that's, last week, I imagine they probably spent 100 hours just sitting there saying, can you believe they think we suck? Like, I don't even know if anything else got done, but just them stewing on that. And then they probably went to separate corners. They probably didn't say
got even more mad.
Yeah, and then because let's start with the offense on that. And obviously this is my passion, and this is the Patriots are the team that I watched the game twice. They came in with a plan. They said the offense said we are going to take 5 to 8 minutes to score if you let us. So they ran the ball really well. I felt like that was the goal. Sonny Michel had over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. Rex Burkhead had a rushing touchdown. And then they said, well, this is the new era. We can't just run the ball. So we're going to rotate Sonny Michel and James White. And when James White comes in, he's going to have 10 catches by halftime. Yeah. And they're going to be short. And if he makes something happen, he does. But either way, the clock's always going to run. And if we don't score a point in the first half, odds are we're going to be winning time of possession. And I think they were okay with that. They were okay with going down at halftime, but winning the time of possession. But it was working. So then that allowed Also in the first half, Julian Edelman to come open. Philip Doucette to run free in the secondary. It allowed other things to happen, and then, well, shoot, I'm up 35-7. I don't really know what to do with myself. The defense, especially in the first half, I felt like Philip. I don't want to put any of this on Philip Rivers and those receivers and Melvin Gordon more than I want to put it on the coaching staff, because I felt like they came in with the idea that we are going to tear up your secondary, which is a liability at times. We are going to tear up your secondary, and we're going to keep chucking it deep like we're playing a game of Madden. And Bill Belichick...
That's what I didn't like. What I didn't like.
It was almost like that was the most obvious choice, and it was so obvious that Bill's like, okay, good luck getting... We'll let you, but good luck getting it off. And if you look in the first half, he did have that big touchdown to Keenan Allen, which scared the crap out of me, but it was because Stephon Gilmore got caught peeking. You know, if he would have stuck his... I'm not saying Keenan Allen wouldn't have caught it. He's a great receiver, but it wouldn't have been a wide-open walk-in touchdown. So Bill Belichick said, that's the most obvious game plan you can ever have, and I'm going to take that away from you. I'm going to put Philip Rivers under so much pressure, the man can't get a pass off. And in the second half, you noticed that the drags and the screens and the dump-offs were there, but you're down 35-7. Once again, Bill Belichick's okay with that.
That's what you should have done in the first half.
Exactly. And the offense and the Chargers made no adjustment. It was so funny. You know, I said that the Patriots wanted to win time of possession in the first half. Well, then in the second half, they wanted the Chargers to win time of possession. If you hit these dink and dunks and these drags, that's cool. Just take 7 or 8 minutes about it. And it did. I mean they had the one big bomb that got them on the one, but even that took them, 2 or 3 plays to get? Like, it wasn't instant. And it killed time. And I'm just thinking, look, you can hate on Philip Rivers. I like Philip Rivers. He looked awful whiny yesterday. I felt like after every play, he was complaining to somebody on his team about somebody on his team.
He felt the pressure. He knows he was 0-7 against Brady. That stuff weighs on you as an athlete.
It does.
You know, and that's why you see, you know, and I always take it back to LeBron. The first time that he played the Cavs or back when he plays the Warriors, he's always like extra, like, you know, all in Steph's face, and it just means more.
Right. I'll give you that. You know, I saw a hilarious meme, and it sounded horrible, and I don't mean to disrespect anybody listening, but it had a picture of Eli Manning holding up the Chargers jersey when they drafted him, and it said the closest the Chargers have ever come to beating Tom Brady. I found that hilarious. And then I saw another stat, not a meme, that the last time that the Chargers beat the Patriots, and I have to double check this, I don't know if they meant just playoffs or in general, was in 2005 when Drew Brees was the quarterback. I mean, you know, that's could be true when you think about if he's 0-7,
Philip Rivers 0-8, 0-8 now.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Yeah, been so, and that's crazy. Almost like we talked about the Chiefs. That's crazy. Look, we know how good Tom Brady and that team's been, but the Chargers haven't been scrubs. They've been
good teams. That's
LT, Sproles, Gates, Merriman, Quentin Jammer, those old secondary days. You know,
yeah, this team was. It wasn't a slouch by any stretch. And to say that he's 0-8 against Tom Brady, that just shows you the consistency. I seen a stat that I think for like the last 15 or 20 years, the only 3 quarterbacks that's been in the AFC Championship game is Peyton, Brady, and Rodgers.
Roethlisberger,
I mean Roethlisberger. My bad. I'm sorry. That just shows how on lock the AFC has been.
The only time it hasn't, if I'm not mistaken, because I do enjoy that stat myself, was the year that John Gruden made it, and that John Gruden year. I forgot who was in there, but it was John Gruden. It was the
you talking about Rich Gannon year?
Yeah, it was Titans. John Gruden was in Tampa Bay at that point. It was Raiders Titans. I think 2002 was the last time that it hadn't been one of those 3. And then if you go the year before that, it was Tom Brady. So yeah, it is a crazy stat. I find myself taking pleasure in having these debates. Like example, the masses were out on some of the chat rooms I'm in, or the fake social media pages about how, look at the check down king. Look, I'll be honest with you. If checking down was that easy, why isn't everybody doing it? You know, the discussion I had was if checking down can win you a Super Bowl, then the Bears should be in it because they have the best defense. They have Cohen.
And that's really what they did.
Right, but I mean, it didn't get it done. And I'm not saying the Patriots will win the Super Bowl, but look at what it's done successfully. And I think maybe the difference is Belichick, but I think it takes some smartness with it. I basically say this, and this doesn't mean it's going to lead to perfection on the field, but the Patriots are the perfect team for them. They say, hey, we don't want to pay anybody, so let's get a bunch of decent O-linemen who have work ethic. They're probably going to get beat if Tom Brady holds the ball too long, but they got good work ethic, so they'll give you 2 seconds.
And that's what Josh McDaniel is so good. That's why I don't think he'll ever be a head coach anywhere until Bill Belichick retires or unless Tom Brady leaves. Him and Brady just work so – they understand each other, you know?
Right.
And I think that's why it works.
And then of course, you give them – you say, oh, I don't want to go out here and I don't want to pay for a Julio Jones or an Antonio Brown or an Odell Beckham. We'll either try to get a guy that's in trouble, such as Randy Moss out of Oakland, or Josh Gordon this year, or even tried it with Chad Johnson. Or we're just going to give you guys you don't know, but I like their hands. And then on defense, you just get him a bunch of scrap pieces, and he just likes building whatever he can, and he's going to find a way to make it work. If it means he's bringing 10 guys, he's going to find the best 10 pass rushers he can find. Or if it means dropping 7 back in coverage, he's going to find a way to make that work. Like I said, I don't know if it'll always lead to championships.
Clearly, and he's always had one kind of shutdown corner, even dated back to Ty Law. Like he's always had that one corner that can shut your best receiver down.
Right.
And we could probably play a little bit of zone everywhere else. He's always done it.
Yeah, he likes having that shutdown. He really likes putting that shutdown corner on your second best receiver and then double teaming your best with scrappy guys like what's that guy's name? Jackson. His first name's initials. I can't remember him. But he's got that. He always likes to have a hard hitting safety back there.
Yeah, that's McCourty. He's had that with Harrison. He
might catch you out
crafty.
Catch you out of possession, quote unquote. Helmet catch. You might give up some passes, but you better hold on to it if you do catch it because you got that safety coming. He's very resourceful. I'll give him that. I just think, and one thing
that's why I hate him, but that's why he's the best.
And one thing I noticed yesterday, and it's going to go unnoticed because if you like Gronk, you're going to say, man, best tight end ever, big polar bear out there. If you don't like Gronk, you're going to say injury prone, couldn't do it. But I think to a little bit of both is going to be one of his best abilities that go unnoticed, and that is his blocking. His blocking is on point. And, I mean, he's laying his body out there. He's probably going to have concussions for years. Some of those blocks he put on Bosa and Ingram and those linebackers.
James, I've seen him.
His head looked like a bobblehead, but that block was sealed. And, I mean, that's probably going to cause some more injuries for him. And jokingly, I told a friend, if Gronk really because Gronk just seems to want to play with Tom Brady. Gronk don't care about anything but play with Tom Brady.
It's like his best friend. This is his best friend.
I bet you if you really wanted to, and it wouldn't be bad, as long as his knees held up, you bump him over to left tackle, and he's protecting Brady, that might be the best left tackle you've ever seen, at least for a year, at least for a game, because his passion for Tom Brady, his passion for that team, his lack of giving a crap about his body. And
he even offered he even wanted to retire if he was going to get traded.
Yeah, when that first came out that everybody was hitting my inbox up. Can you believe Gronk? Look at Gronk. He's thinking about retiring because he hates the Patriots. And then it comes out that he loved the Patriots and catching passes from Tom Brady so much that if they ever thought of not only that the fact that they pretty much was betraying him by trading him, his loyalty was so much. Which there goes the continuous comparisons to a big old lap dog. His love for Tom Brady is so much that he will quit doing the sport he's worked his life and loves rather than go catch passes from Matt Stafford, who's not bad. We can debate on how good Matt Stafford is, but he's not Nathan Peterman. But he said, no, I don't care who you trade me to. You can trade me to Drew Brees. He didn't say this, but the way I took it was, I don't care where you send me. If
I don't
it's
care
not
where you send me.
if it's not New England, if it's not Tom Brady, I'm gone. And I think that's kind of cool. I mean, I hope he does. I don't want him to be done because he had such an upside, and he's not that old, Billy. He's especially when you see Gates out there catching really good touchdowns yesterday in the corner, and knowing he's what a decade older than Gronk.
Yep.
I hate to see it for Gronk. I want one more for him, of course. But all right, like I said, I could talk all day with the Patriots. Moving on, had probably the best game of the weekend. Definitely the best game, but really the closest too. Foles magic is over. I hated to see it, but we called it. Saints beat them 20-14. What was your takeaway?
Just, I don't know, incomplete, honestly. And I'm going to give, and that's the grade I'm going to give to the Saints too. Incomplete. This offense has really taken a turn down the back stretch of this season. I don't know what it is, but this is not the same offense that we saw in weeks 3 through 10. Whatever happened to their offense, they need to get it back because they were on the verge of losing that game last night.
Yeah.
Alshon Jeffrey, the ball just went right through his hands.
And he was horrible
about
it. I just said he felt horrible about it.
Yeah. He laid on the field, and you seen Peterson try to pick him up. You seen Foles try to go over there and pick him up. That was a tough loss by the Eagles. But that catch probably would have put them at 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, going in to score.
Mm-hmm.
20 points. It almost wasn't enough yesterday. So I'm gonna get a Saints incomplete. I guess they defense showed up. I thought the one interception that Foles threw to the tight end on the left sideline, I thought he had him beat. That ball was underthrown. The last one, obviously, it went through Alshon Jeffrey's hand. So the Eagles played well enough to win that game, I think. But in sports, they say sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I think yesterday the Saints are happy being lucky.
Yeah, and that's they got up 14-0, and then they were really marching to go up 21-0 potentially, and he underthrew a pass to, I think, Ertz, and it got picked off, and then here come the Saints doing what the Saints do. But yeah, look, the better team won, and I hate that they're trying to kick Foles down like he did this. But I want to move aside for a second and just take away all the politics of, yes, we spent all this money on Wentz. He's our first or second pick overall. Foles just seems to have that team. If I'm a receiver, and obviously I don't want to knock Wentz for this, but the way that Nick Foles, you just ended his career, you just ended potentially his run with Philadelphia. You definitely ended the season. Who knows what else you ended. For him to come over there and just embrace Alshon Jeffries, if I ever played on the same field with that, if I was Alshon Jeffries and I ever shared the field with Nick Foles again, I am doing everything in my power to make this man look good. And
they was killing him yesterday, man, because, he said he had the best hands in the league. And, I mean, what is he supposed to say, honestly?
I guess you could always go the Larry Fitzgerald, I don't say anything route. But, I mean, if it's not that era anymore. It's social media. It's conversation. It's bulletin board material. I mean,
we all loved it when Ali said it. I mean, nobody questioned him.
Well, the funny thing was, and I think I heard a comedian say this, when Ali said it, it was like, what the crap just got said? What happened? Who said that? But now, like, everybody's we use the term GOAT for everything. Oh, Derek Carr had a comeback win. GOAT. No, he's not. So I think that's the thing, and we just assume that we're lumping when the players said it into the same batch of when fans say it. So we're just here to ridicule everybody. But people want to blame Nick Foles, and when everybody's like, "Oh, there's your GOAT, there's your Nick Foles, there's your whatever throwing interception," it wasn't on his fault. And then the conversation changed to, "Well, why is he taking a snap before the 2-minute warning? You're losing. Why not?" If it's
and you don't have many timeouts.
Exactly. So essentially, why waste the timeout? You could have run the ball, you could have thrown a check down, you could have thrown anyone on the field, and the clock was stopping afterwards. Why waste that? Like I said, you're losing, and ironically, that was really the only reason they even stood another chance. because once that turnover occurred, they had that timeout to use and potentially could have got the ball back with about 20 seconds left. Now, Kamara picked it up, but that's why you do that. And I was kind of hoping they would have come back solely on the fact that, well, good thing Nick Foles threw that interception then instead of wasting 20 seconds. But I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't worry about the Saints either way, one way or the other. I feel like they're a good team. I feel like they just got caught slipping here. But we talked it with the Chiefs. 20 points isn't going to be enough to get you a Super Bowl this year. And ironically, of all the quarterbacks played, Drew Brees is the quarterback that threw the most touchdowns. Jared Goff had none, Mahomes had none, and Brady had one. But it's just not going to be enough. And
that's not going to be 20 points. Is not playing. Even playing, if whoever make it out of the AFC, surely 20 points is not going to beat Brady. You think 20 points is going to beat Brady? No, that's not going to happen. And the way Mahomes has played without throwing the touchdown, 31 points, 20 points is not going to get it. The Rams put up 30. That you're going to have to be better. You're going to have to be better.
Right. So, for anybody keeping count, Buckeister, he's not here to defend himself. We went 2-2 over championship or division round weekend. Me and Billy tied with 3-1. We probably have to go back and review the tape or sit down sometime and see what our overall playoff records are. We may do that for you on tomorrow's show. What's that?
Well, I went 2-2. I went 2-2 on wild card weekend, so that'll push me at 5-3. I think you went 3-1 wild card weekend.
Okay, so I picked the Colts over the Texans.
Yep.
I lost the Cowboys over Seahawks, so I was 1-1. What was those Sunday games? Chargers over Ravens, 2-1.
Chargers over Ravens, and then the
Eagles over Bears. So 3-1. So 6-2, I'll take that.
And I'm 5-3.
But the problem with me, and this is probably what'll bite Buckeister, our hearts are still in it, and that's what I mean. The only reason he's not 3-1 is because his heart was with Dallas. I don't know if he truly thought they could win, or if he just really wanted them to win.
I had him on the show, and he sounded pretty like he wanted them to win. It wasn't like when he was picking the Bears type thing. It seemed like he wanted the Cowboys to win.
Yeah, maybe he was. So
his heart, his heart was there.
His heart
was in it.
No, I know his heart was there. I just wonder if his head was in it. So when you said you can stop Gurley with 5 people, I wonder if that's a lot of heart overhead. So for anybody listening, that's it for RTF Sports Talk.